Welcome to the Smith Publicity All Things Book Marketing Podcast, offering tips, insights, and advice from the best in the publishing industry. Hello, and welcome to this episode of All Things Book Marketing. I'm your host, Olivia McCoy, and our special guest today is Melanie Herschorn. Melanie is the book marketing strategist and publisher at VIP Book Marketing and author of the upcoming Make a Big Impact with Your Book coming this fall. Hi, Melanie.
Hello, Olivia. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us and congratulations on your upcoming book.
Thank you. I am so excited.
So now you're going to be able to speak from both sides as a publishing professional and as an author.
Absolutely. I've been involved in, I actually produced a multi-author book back in the summertime, but this is really my first standalone, and it's a lot. It's exciting.
Anything you've already learned about the process now that you're an author?
Oh, girl, how much time do we have? Yes, but I mean, there a lot of it's, logical stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So much of it is mindset, really, truly, how to get your butt in your chair and actually sit and write. And then, and then the worst part, having to read it again. I mean,
and again.
So when I was writing my master's thesis, so I got a master's in broadcast journalism. And when I was writing my thesis, which sounds weird now that I think about it because it was written, but anyway, when I wrote it, it was a 25-page article about online dating back in the early aughts. So apps didn't exist for dating yet. I'm dating this dating thing. So I got to the point where I couldn't read it again. Like I actually could not even open the file. That did not happen with this book. I'm still reading my book over and over again. And I'm like, wow, I did that. Yay me.
That's exciting. I'm very excited to read it. I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy. So you'll have to take one set aside for me, perhaps.
Absolutely. And I'm having a launch party as soon as I know the date of it. So you will be invited. Oh, and all your listeners will, of course, be invited to this virtual launch party.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Of course.
So normally I start off with tell us more about your work and how you help authors, but took a little detour. So now tell us about your work and how you help authors.
Yeah, I'm really good at taking detours. So how I help authors. I think it comes from my years on the radio where you just have to, you never know what's going to come up and you got to be ready for anything.
Yes.
And as long as you can, you can walk all the way around, but as long as you get back to the point, which I will do. How do I help authors? So I help them in a number of ways. So if an author is finished writing their book and they're about to publish it and they realize that you need to market it in order for it to have the impact that you're looking for, whether it's speaking or, media opportunities or podcast guesting opportunities or creating a course for new revenue streams or a product to go with it that you want to sell. You need marketing for all that stuff. The book in and of itself, I know you're like, you think this all the time. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here. If nobody knows about your book, it doesn't necessarily matter so much that it's published. And so what I help authors do is all of the aforementioned stuff, all that marketing stuff, helping you get where you want to go, helping your book work for you. And so that you can make a big impact with it. And the other way that I help authors is people who want to be an author. They're a professional, their friends and colleagues have been like, you should write a book. You should write a book. It's like when I used to have a breastfeeding clothing company that I manufactured and designed breastfeeding clothing, which sounds weird, but it made sense at the time. And I used to say I would be rich if I got $1 every time somebody said to me, you should be on Shark Tank.
Same thing with you should write a book.
Exactly. And so every time they said you should be on Shark Tank, I would say, Oh, yeah, thanks. That's a great idea. Oh my God, I wish they'd just paid me $1. So, um, the same thing happens with professional, men and women, and I tend to work with more women, but that's just because I think that's who I attract. Um, but it's like people are always telling them, you're an expert in psychology, with specifically a certain area. You're an expert in the law. You're an expert in coaching. You should really write a book. And so they are walking around with this burden on their shoulders of, I should write a book. I know I'm supposed to, but I just don't know where to start. And how on earth am I going to fit it in with all the other things that I have to do? I'm juggling my life and my work and my, you know, like the juggle is real. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mom of two, and my son broke his right wrist, and he's
Oh.
right-handed. And then 4 days later, he was climbing on the jungle gym at school, and he fell off and broke his left arm. So he's got a full arm cast on one side, and you know what? I have to keep going. I have to keep momming. I have to, run my business, help my clients, and all the things. So the juggle is real.
Mhm.
And we just keep going, but how do you fit a book into that? So that's what we help these professionals do. We take them from the writing through the editing, through the publishing, through the marketing piece. It's a one-stop shop because, as you know, publishers don't offer marketing, even if they say they do.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on who you're working with, but absolutely you're not getting the same support that you would if you're working with a specialized place or if you're doing it yourself. And the title of this interview is going to be content marketing or something involving content marketing. So let's talk about the different types of marketing, because you mentioned that you help with all things marketing, but how many types of marketing are there? And then we'll jump into the specifics of content marketing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's start with the paid part.
Yeah.
I don't help with that because
Okay.
I firmly believe that you want to have your marketing foundation built before you start paying extra.
Mm-hmm.
I have great contacts for people who are ready to, hire somebody to do Amazon ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Those can be a really great tool, but way down the road, often, right out of the gate, you got to build out who you are and what you're saying, your messaging. So that's the paid part. And then the other parts, so the content is literally what you're putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
And your book is a treasure trove of content. So repurposing that the right way with a strategy, that's one piece. And then there's the leveraging other people's audiences piece. So for example, you and I are chatting.
Yes.
I am getting the benefit of speaking to your audience. Hello audience. Um, you are talking to my people too, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
they're getting to learn about me. You're bringing me on as an expert, which all of a sudden, if Olivia says that I'm an expert, then that's really, great street cred for me. So it's a little bit meta right now, I know, but so it's leveraging other people's audiences to speak about your mission and your message and your book. And that includes like summits and then what you guys do over at your company, where it's like pitching people to the media. I show people how to do it and you do it for them. And I always say that there are some people who are going to want a publicist to do all that pitching because publicists have great relationships and I used to be one, and I love PR. I think it's awesome. And there are, unfortunately, a lot of people who think that they can go from, I published a book, I have no followers, I have no message really out in the world, but I'm going to hire a publicist and they're going to fix it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only do so much, you can't create a whole marketing foundation where there isn't one while you're pitching to the Today Show. So those are all pieces of marketing.
So it sounds like we're using marketing as a synonym to promotion.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. I like it. So then what is content marketing specifically? We talked about the content is what you have in your book and your messaging, but what does content marketing look like?
That is the words and the pictures, the stories that you share, the transformations of clients and customers, the credibility pieces of, testimonials about you, or
Mhm.
book reviews on Amazon where people are like, this book is awesome. And sharing it out because a crowd draws a crowd. So that's what content marketing is. Anything that you are putting out in the world, that's your message.
I'm always surprised to learn that authors don't always know that they can take the consumer reviews that they're getting and use it in their marketing. You can take this Amazon review from this Jane Doe that you don't know and say, this book is great, quote, Amazon reviewer. So that is content you can be recycling, and recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle for your time and energy in what's coming in as well as what you're putting out, right?
100%. And, you know, I think you touched on a good point. It's that when somebody becomes an author for with a bigger end in mind.
Mhm.
So their mission is not just to sell books. Their mission is to impact the world in some way with all the things we already talked about, speaking or, courses and all that. They come at it like this. I don't know what I don't know. I keep
Mhm.
being told all these things. I'm a novice. I don't know what I'm doing and I need somebody to help me. And that's where I get worried, because there are a lot of people taking would-be authors for a ride.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got a full eye roll on that one, and it's because
I
it's
I
true.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. And so all I really, there's sometimes I just get on a call with somebody and I'm not trying to sell them anything. I just want them to know the facts because I've done the research and I see what's out there. Look, the minute that you post on LinkedIn that you're an author, you start getting these creepy DMs and emails, because your email is connected to your LinkedIn. And they're like, your new book, fill in the blank, they wrote it, that it's in the email, is going to be amazing. So why don't you hire us to do X, Y, and Z? And people fall for this stuff. Last
Mhm.
week, I got a direct message from some guy on LinkedIn, and he said, I'd love to connect with you. And I saw what he did, and I thought, wow, we could potentially refer clients to one another. And he writes, hey, have you ever thought about doing a podcast tour? And I was like, oh, yeah, I have actually, of course. And he wrote, great. So that's what we do. So let's get on a call and discuss further how we can. And I wrote back, I help authors do that too.
Yeah,
And he,
that's my
and
job.
right. And he's like, oh, okay, bye. And he sort of slunk away. But, you know, all that to say, I don't even know where I was going with that at this point, but I think it's really that there's so much that you don't know. And so
Mhm.
when you said authors, it surprises you that authors don't know that they can repurpose things.
Mhm.
It's because there's so much misinformation out there,
Mhm.
B, vultures trying to take your money the minute you write author on your bio on social media, and C, there's this feeling of helplessness. So I'm here to try to get rid of all that crap and show people not only can they do it, but how great it can be when they do.
So speaking of showing people, let's use you and your book as an example. What are some good examples of content marketing? What have you been doing to market your content?
Okay, well, my content in my book is everything that I do anyway, so it's kind of
Sure.
yeah, I'm not having to start from scratch. But sharing the stories of clients that client transformations that are included
Mhm.
in the book, sharing quotes from others, and then talking about why those quotes are important or significant to me. And gosh, what else? The statistics, it's really cool. I was super geeking out actually. So the Pew Trust, and I think it's a think tank, and so I had gotten a chart from there and I put it in the book. And then I reached out to them because I'm a former journalist and I don't do anything unless I know it's legit. And I emailed somebody and then I called somebody else and I said, is it okay if I use this in my book? And I didn't hear back. And then I got an email and it said, absolutely, we're so happy for you to use this in your book. As long as you credit us, then go right ahead. And it was like the coolest thing. So I think that the moral of that story is two things. Talk about statistics because those are interesting as long as there's a story around it. And also, don't be afraid to ask for things because you never know what you're going to get. You
And
could get, yeah.
I like that you're touching on sharing your own content that you've created and also resharing other people's content and getting permission, that it's not all on your shoulders to be creating all the time. Sometimes it is finding a good nugget that exists and commenting on it and talking about it. What's the percentage that should be your own original versus resharing, repurposing?
Ooh. So I think that you should be repurposing your own stuff.
Well, sure. Yes.
But that said, I mean, I think if we're going to talk ratios, the value to sales is more the ratio that I would feel comfortable giving, an 80% value, 20% sales. Unless you're selling, like you're in a sales cycle of some sort, you've got some event or some program that you're launching, something like that. So what feels good to you? I don't think there are these hard and fast rules that we have to live by because, one thing, what works for one person is not going to work for you and your book and your business. And I think that this is also in my book. I just said that. That was me saying that. That was silly. I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, the thing is, when you are scrolling Facebook and you see somebody write, I made $14,000 in 5 minutes, drop an emoji below and you can get my exact blueprint for how I did it. So we are so programmed to go, silver bullet, get it now. And it's not a silver bullet. You're just now on their email list and they're going to sell you something. So all that to say, cookie cutter doesn't work. Yes. And so what is value to you and your audience? If original stuff is going to be the most valuable, then post more original stuff. If already written stuff that you can then comment on and add your magic to is going to be more valuable, then do that. But always include an element of who you are, because you are the important piece here. People have to, and you probably say this all the time, Olivia, know, like, and trust, right? That know, like, and trust factor. And I used to, say that and think that, and then I experienced it, and I want to, if I can share.
Yeah.
So a while back, I created a program. And I launched it and I did all the things you're supposed to do in a launch, supposed to do in quotation marks. And I got 0 people, like 0 people signed up. And I was working with a coach at the time and I went back through everything. And what we realized was people knew me and they liked me because I could be fun, but they didn't trust me. So, and it's not that they didn't trust me as a person. Like, I'm sure they would have told me their deepest, darkest secrets. People do that all the time randomly in bars. I don't know why. But it's that they didn't trust me to take them from where they were to the success that they wanted for themselves. And so I had to go back and really, do a deep dive. Like, what am I missing here? And it was about injecting myself into my content and showing more of that credibility piece of, look what I've done for others. Look how I've helped others. So all that to say, when you're trying to figure out what content to share, always make sure that your brand of magic is infused in it so that people can get to know you, like you, and then that crucial piece of trust you so they can buy your book. And like, a book is not a high ticket item.
Mhm.
It's not like I'm saying, okay, my book is $1,500 for 6 months, every month for 6 months. So you can just read it for 6 months and then you don't get it again. No, I don't know, it's going to be like $17.99. Like, please, you spend more on gum at the grocery store. I know I do. So it's just about that trust piece.
So this kind of applies to that more general 80% of value. What about the 20% sales? What does that look like?
Okay. So do not stand on a soapbox and shout, buy my book, as much as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And here, this is the book I produced. So you can see me holding it up. Okay, so I'm just holding up this book and smiling, and I'm going to post this picture. I had a client tell me, that's my best performing post ever. I said, yeah, of course, because people are excited for you. Did they buy your book? No, they didn't. So a couple things. When you say buy my book, you have to give people a reason to do it. Pick up a copy so you can. What can you do? So you can know how to market your book and do it in an easy, fast way. Or so you can lose those last 5 pounds that you have been so desperately trying to lose since last Christmas. When you give people a reason that's your call to action. You'll give them a reason to buy that, to click that link and buy that book. But also the post itself, the content itself, should not just be, here is what I'm offering, right? You want to zhuzh it up. So whether that's telling stories to begin with, telling a client story of success, and then going into, and that can be you too. You too can have this success. The first step is getting your copy of Make a Big Impact with Your Book, or whatever your insert book title here.
So then that sales is almost a side alley of the promotion, the value. You're still providing value, but you're providing value with a specific ask, with a specific pathway.
Exactly. Because, gosh, we're not dumb. we know what's what on social media. We're on it every day. Somebody right now is probably sitting on the toilet scrolling social media while listening to us. So it's always there, and we're gonna be able to smell a rat if somebody's just trying to sell us crap. We're not going to be interested, because to them, we're just a number. But I really believe in relationship marketing, where you're creating a rapport. Even if you might not know the person's name, they know that you care.
Well, Melanie, thank you so much for joining us. Where can our listeners and watchers learn more about you and your book and VIP book marketing?
Oh, well, VIPbookmarketing.com. And if you would like a free ultimate book marketing checklist, I have that available at VIPbookmarketing.com/checklist. Try to make it really easy.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time and your knowledge.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And listeners, watchers, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with anyone else that might be interested. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Smith Publicity All Things Book Marketing Podcast. To reach us and learn about our many services, visit smithpublicity.com or send us an email to info@smithpublicity.com.